I think if you're grounded and genuine and kind, success will find you.
Fred Richani of TSC. We have right here on the line a very special guest. You may know his work from Man in the High Castle, from Ghost of Tsushima, for AMC's The Terror. We are talking to actor Lee Shorten. Lee, thank you so much for the time. How's everything going?
That's great. Thank you. Thanks for having me. How are you?
I'm good. Is that your dog or your cat?
Oh, my cat. Sorry. I just.
It's all good. Hey, we're cat people here, so that's totally fine by me.
Sorry, guys.
All good.
Life's good. Life's good. It's getting a little cooler here, but LA cooler is not like East Coast cooler. So yeah, you know how it is, surviving the pandemic, I guess.
As a gamer, I gotta ask you about your role in Ghost of Tsushima.
It was a thrill for me too, because I was part of the director's cut, and I played the base game as well and loved it. Like, I was a huge fan of the game, and I've been a huge fan of Sucker Punch for years. So then I got this audition for, and at the time, you know, they don't tell you what it is or whatever, but I was like, oh, is this Ghost of Tsushima? Is this a sequel or something? And then it was the DLC, the Iki Island expansion, and then to be playing like Kazumasa Sakai was kind of like it was like an unreal kind of dream come true thing.
It's pretty incredible. And how different has that been from some of your other work, whether it be in voiceovers or just acting in general, in terms of like the overall process?
Most voiceover I'd done before was cartoons, and this is my first, you know, AAA video game. I've done some mobile games and stuff, but nothing like this. So this was the first time I'd been down in like the mocap stages and done all that kind of thing. And it was really cool. The only unfortunate thing was that because it was in the pandemic, we couldn't record together. Like in the original, they'd recorded together, even when they were mocapping. But I was just by myself, which was a bit of a bummer because I wanted to work with everyone. But it was still a wonderful experience.
That's awesome. And another cool thing you've been involved in a lot of cool things, but another cool thing you're involved in specifically is a little show called Squid Game. And you were telling me off the air, you did some English dubbing that I don't think a lot of people know, which is pretty freaking cool. I mean, it's only the number 1 or number 2 most streamed Netflix series of all time. What was it like getting hooked up with Squid Game? And when you were doing the English dubbing, did you have any idea of the scope of this production?
You know, again, that was just the usual, like a audition came in and oh no, actually I don't think I did audition. I do a little bit of dubbing for Netflix, you know, and I think I just done a show with the same director, and then they just asked me to come in and do Squid Game, so I didn't audition for that one actually. And I do remember in the session just watching a couple of scenes, and I thought, this looks like a really cool show. I had no idea it would be, you know, the level that Squid Game was going to go, but I did think, oh, this is pretty cool. I think people will dig this. So.
I interviewed a few of the voice actors, and they told me that they only essentially did their scenes. So whatever they saw was the perspective of their character. Was that the case for you, where you kind of thought it was one type of series, and then all of a sudden you realized the scope after watching it?
I did a bunch of characters on that show. So I came in and did a lot of just like randoms and guest stars and stuff. So I guess I got to see maybe a bit of a broader perspective than some of the others, but then I maybe didn't see the depth because I wasn't, you know, like, well, I wasn't like Gihan or anyone. So.
And of course, as I mentioned before, you're part of AMC's The Terror, Amazon's The Man in the High Castle. You were part of Swan Song as well. I mean, very impressive resume up to this point. Been really cutting your teeth. Props to you. But of course, every journey has a beginning. So growing up, did you want to get into acting?
I did not. When I was really little, I wanted to be a doctor, and then I wanted to be a musician. So acting was never really on the radar.
Were you a lawyer or studying to be a lawyer prior to getting into acting?
I was a lawyer. Yeah, I went to law school and everything, and then worked as a lawyer for a couple of years, and then hated it. So.
Wow. So when did you realize, like, okay, like, I want to be an actor, right? Like, did you have like a period where you were exploring other career paths, or did you know as soon as law was making you miserable, like, damn it, I got to get into showbiz?
I've always loved film and TV. Like when I was a kid, I had, you know, the DVDs, and I'd watch all the extra features and the DVD commentaries and everything. And, you know, I was always super into it. So then my liberal arts undergrad major was film studies, and I, you know, even loved it even more. And I always thought that if I ever went into the arts, I'd be a director, because that's kind of like what I'd grown up thinking about, you know, thinking about film more critically. Mm-hmm. But then, you know, it made sense to my lawyer brain, but like now I know what I know about the industry. It's really stupid. But when I was thinking about transitioning into film, I thought, well, if they make one movie, there's only one director, but there's like 30 actors in the movie. So statistically, it must be easier to be an actor. So I'll just try acting to get my foot in the door, was like the original kind of thought process.
And as far as your law background, what law did you practice specifically?
The most exciting kind, tax law.
Oh boy. All right, so I would like to assume, and correct me if I'm wrong, that means you might be pretty good at when it comes to negotiating contracts, keeping track of your finances, anything like that. I'm assuming that's kind of helped you when being in Hollywood.
Obviously I have agents and stuff that look out for me, but it has been useful in terms of like indie filmmaking, and a lot of my friends are indie filmmakers. So, I've been good at looking at their contracts and that kind of thing. So that's where it's been useful.
Hey, it worked out in the long run, right?
Yeah.
A couple years
We're
of
on the path or whatever.
exactly. What would you say was your big break?
I don't think I've had it yet, man. I don't know what a
What would you say? What would you say is it helped you really get your foot in the door, where now you are a consistent working actor who's really getting some notoriety?
That was very kind of you to say. I mean, I think it all really started with Man in the High Castle. I was lucky to get that early on in my career, and it turned into something it wasn't supposed to be. And I just learned a lot on that show, and I think that show had a bit of pedigree. So, I think it's been kind of my calling card in a lot of respects.
Was it tough for you to go all the way from Australia to LA? Did it happen like right away, or did you initially take acting gigs there before transitioning to the States?
No, I'd never acted in Australia, and the market there's kind of small, and it is like super super white, like even whiter than the American market. Although
Wow.
obviously it's better these days, but I went to Vancouver first, and then I transitioned to LA after a few years in Vancouver.
I've interviewed a few guys from Vancouver. One of my good friends is a stunt person and actor there, and
Oh yeah,
I mean that is low key one of the bigger cities and better cities when it comes to showbiz.
totally. I mean, I think it's the biggest hub outside of New York and LA, isn't it? Maybe.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I think it's like right behind them. You mentioned Australia, very white. I look at America, and while things have gotten better in showbiz and workplaces in general, there's still a long way to go. So, comparatively, let's just stick with America. When it comes to diversity, do you think that we're heading towards a good place as an Asian actor?
Lately, definitely, it seems like we are. I'm always a little hesitant, and like I'm the cynic of our little group because after Crazy Rich Asians, everyone was like, "Oh, this is it. Everything's going to be different." And I, remember they said the same thing when Joy Luck Club came out, and they said the same thing when Better Luck Tomorrow came out, and you know, there was a while where Jet Li and Jackie Chan were everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I hope like things are better right now, but I hope it's like a permanent change and not a flash in the pan, if that makes sense.
Realistically speaking, it's not just about getting more representation, but also making it the norm, right? Like making it normal. Like one day we hope it's not a big deal that there's like an Asian or Black led film or LGBTQ presence. It should just be standard.
Right. Exactly like, reflecting the world around us. Totally. I love that.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Well, we always like to ask all our guests some kind of random rapid fire questions just to get to know them better. Are you ready?
Yeah, I love it.
All right. Favorite late night snack or cheat meal?
Oh God. I mean, pizza's a good cheat meal. I don't really do late night snacks.
All right. All right. You said pizza. Now, this is, of course, a New York show, so I'm a little biased here. Have you had some New York pizza, and what'd you think if you did?
I have, and it was awesome.
Okay. There you go. Any particular pizza you dig?
Look, this is controversial, but I am a Hawaiian man.
Okay. Oh, pineapple on your pizza?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. All right. You are forgiven, my friend.
Thank you.
All-time favorite actor?
Off the top of my head, I'll say Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah, he was absolutely brilliant. You said you're a gamer, which made my eyes light up because I'm a gamer as well. We cover gaming extensively. What are you currently playing, and what's your all-time favorite game?
Oh, these are good questions, man. I'm currently playing Dark Souls 3. Did you play Dark Souls?
I play it, but that game is so hard. I'm a baby
Yeah.
with that. It's like I die once or twice. I'm like, all right, I'm good.
And then my all-time favorite game. Wow.
Besides Ghost of Tsushima, of course.
Yeah. Well, thank you. You know what? You know what is an underrated gem which I love and revisit all the time is Planescape Torment.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to check that out. What console's on?
Oh, it's old. It's like an old PC game, like in the Baldur's Gate era.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. What's your all-time favorite movie?
7.
Let's go with Brad Pitt, right?
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. What's an underrated project on your IMDb? Of course, we know you for a lot of the major series you've been a part of, Ghost of Tsushima, all that jazz. But is there one thing on your IMDb that for anybody watching, listening to this, that you'd love them to check out? Something that maybe you don't think gets enough love?
I guess I've been kind of lucky in that I feel like a lot of my stuff has got this requisite. I they cut my scene, but I feel like you should all check out Noel, the Anna Kendrick, Bill Hader Christmas movie, especially because it's the season, right?
Yeah.
So,
Awesome. Are you a Christmas guy? Do you like the holiday season?
I worked in retail for like 10 years, which badly soured me on Christmas. But as I've gotten older, I've fallen back in love with it.
Hey, as somebody who worked in retail for 10 years as well before getting into showbiz and everything else, let me tell you, like, the more far removed you are from retail, the more you enjoy the holiday season again. When
Right?
you don't have to deal with people.
Right, God.
You know what? I was going to ask you what your most awkward moment as an actor is, and I'll ask that in a second. But I got to ask you, what's your most awkward, wacky moment in retail? Because I mean, we all see it, right? There's always a Karen or some crazy. You mean like the weirdest people in retail? Is there any story that comes to mind this holiday season?
This happened many, many, many times, to be honest. Like, because I grew up in a small rural town in Australia that was like very white, and so many times, a customer would talk to me on the phone because I worked in the CD department, and they come in and they'd come to the desk and be like, "Hey, like I was just talking to Lee earlier," and I'd be like, "Yep, that's me," and you would just see them, their brain would be like, "But you're Asian." Like they couldn't process and be like, "Yes, that was me. I'm just me." And then I remember I had one guy once, he was like, "All right, but what kind of Asian are you?" And I'm like, "Well, you know," and he's like, "This is very important because it's like I fought it," which is understandable. I'm just like, in a weird way. He's like, "I fought in the war, and if you're Japanese," I'm just like, I don't even want to look at you. And I'm like, Okay, sir."
Well, I am certainly sorry to hear that. I could share a story with you real quick.
Yeah, please do.
I had so I'm Lebanese and Venezuelan. I'm fluent in Arabic, and I had these two dudes that were just, I know they're a couple, just talking all this crap about me in Arabic. Like I'm just trying to do my job, sell them a TV, and they're saying all this stuff, all this crap that I could totally understand that they don't know because I look like just like a regular white boy or whatever. And then as I rang them up, everything else, sent them on their way. I said shukran, which is thank you in Arabic, and they just looked at me like, "Oh my god!" Like they just felt so embarrassed. I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah, that's
cell
good
phone."
for you. Good for you. I'm sorry that happened. Good for you.
It happens, right? As far as being an actor, what's your most awkward moment as an actor?
I
It could be like a funny moment too. Like if we're at a party
Yeah.
or something, you know what I mean, and it's like an embarrassing story that makes you laugh now that maybe wasn't funny then. Like anything that comes to mind.
Well, I'll tell a funny, like it got cut again, but like in Swan Song, there's a bit in the script, and we shot it, but whatever. But these things happen. Where Mahershala Ali's character wets himself while he's asleep, and then I'm supposed to like clean it up because he's like unconscious. And I remember there's like so many jokes just that day about how that was all going to play out, and like they had like the scene. There's people talking while I do it, and all they gave me was one cloth on the first take, and the scene goes forever, and I'm just down there just like wiping up this imaginary pee for so long, and then we cut, and everyone was just like, "Yo, what were you doing down there, man? You were down there for like forever." So
That's hilarious. And what was it like working with Mahershala Ali? That guy is such a badass. His range is incredible. I'd imagine you got a kick out of working with him.
oh yeah, man, that was it was surreal because again, I'd been a big fan of his for a long time. Like his body of work is so impressive. As you say, his range is incredible. Obviously, he's a 2-time Oscar winner. So every day was just like a masterclass. Just getting to watch him work and observe him and listen to the questions he asked and the things that he did. It was surreal, man. It was so good. You cannot say enough good things about it or him.
Well, that's awesome. And you know what's something that just came to mind too? Another actor, somebody I actually interviewed a couple of times. I haven't talked to him in a while, but Kerry Tagawa.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. the original OG from Mortal Kombat. I mean, that guy is awesome. What was it like working with him?
Yeah, we rarely shared scenes together, but I mean, I got to know him over the course of the thing, and I'm like you, dude. I'm like, my God, it's Shang Tsung. Like, it's like, that was kind of a surreal experience. But then meeting him, and you know what Carrie's like? He's so much more like, yo, just the energy and the vibes, man.
Yes,
So
he's so mellow and chill compared to some of the characters he played. It's insane. You could just like kick it with him and just
right.
talk to
So
him forever.
that was a weird disconnect. And like, obviously, I know we're all actors, but his was such an extreme, 180. I was like, whoa.
What's the best piece of advice you could give for success?
That's always such a weird question because like I don't know what success is. I think if you're chasing success, you're probably setting yourself up for failure. And I know it can be difficult, but I think, it's always that thing of like, you just have to be very grounded at all times and have a very good support network around you. And just be kind of find the little wins and the things that help you each day, whether or not, that's like a totally unrelated hobby or whatever. And then I think if you're grounded and genuine and kind, success will find you.
And before I let you go, sir, where can fans find you online and where can we find you next on screen?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at LC Shorten. And well, you can catch Swan Song on Apple TV Plus on December 17th. And then I wish I could talk about my other project, but I can't. But check back in early next year. I think we'll have something else to talk about too.
Well, you know what? Since you can't talk about the other projects except for Swan Song with me, just ask you about that. In a couple of lines or less, why should people tune in?
2 words: Mahershala Ali. Like honestly, he delivers 2 performances that are just like it's next level in just the nuance and the complexity and the subtlety of what he's doing. Phenomenal. But also, the script by Ben Cleary, the director, it's a really lovely story about family and love and mortality. And I think, it raises some interesting questions and will kind of hopefully, it's the kind of film where afterwards you want to call your loved ones immediately and just be thankful for them.
Yeah, we will definitely check it out. Swan Song, Apple TV Plus, December 17th, right?
That's correct, sir.